Yeah, so this is my garage. This is the frame of my 1977 Monte Carlo, which I'm doing a full frame build on. Yeah, if you guys want to check it out. The main thing I'm doing right now is what we call a full wrap. It's a wrap which is reinforcing. Reinforcing is something you do to protect your frame from separating, cracking, splitting, breaking in general. So what I'm doing pretty much is I'm welding plates to the frame, keeping the frame from splitting, just making it stronger, bulkier, all types of ways. The main thing I'm doing right now is molding, which is what I mean by molding is pretty much giving the frame more of a solid look. Because if you didn't mold, you would be able to see my weld pretty much connecting the two plates together. I didn't want that look for my car. I wanted my car to have more of a solid, more one-piece look. Yeah, so that's what it does. There's two ways of doing it. You can weld it and make it all metal, shape it. By doing that, you keep welding, grinding until you get the look you like. Another way of doing it is doing mostly weld, but a little bit of body filler, which saves you a lot more time and gives you about the same look, really. Wherever you see body filler is more pieces I was connecting. So if you was to look under this body filler, you would see two different plates that are weld down the middle. So that's kind of something I'm working on right now. Trying to cover the most of it, making it look like one solid look. The reason I'm doing this is I'm giving my car a really aggressive setup with the batteries. I'm doing a 4-pump 14 battery setup with a double piston to the front. That's why this is kind of necessary for me. There's no really going around it. And I know that's what I want, so this is a step I have to do for it. The reason we're doing that is, like I said, the reinforcing, it's just going to keep this frame from splitting and breaking. Yeah, so in lowriding, there's totally a bunch of different ways you can build your car. There's lay and play. There's some cars that just are street cars with like maybe a normal setup, like a 6 battery, 2-pump setup, something like that. There's hoppers. There's your more aggressive street cars. What I want to do for mine is I wanted to be in a hopper category, but mostly it's going to be an aggressive street car. And what I mean by aggressive is like a double piston or piston, you know, a lot of batteries going to the front, which is voltage. We get about 12 volts for a battery. Normally we'll get, people usually put like 48 volts, 36 volts around there. Yeah, what I wanted to do was I wanted to be in the hopper category and an aggressive one. So what I mean by hopping or hoppers is usually people build their car full wrap. A lot of like body, some people do body reinforcement, some people just do the full frame wrap. And I want to build a high inch car. And what I mean by high inch is I really want to get my car high enough where I'm almost at the top of the ruler. But by doing that, I have to do things like reinforce and do drop mounts. I have my rear end over here that I have to reinforce. That takes a lot of pressure, pretty much. This is my rear end. Something I learned while doing the rear end is building it. There's ways you can do, like you can overkill it and you can do a slight reinforcement. I had to kind of overkill it just because I want to do things like people don't normally jump the back of their car. That's something I'm trying to do and bring to the game near me. I also have this other thing over here that I do to keep stress off my trailing arms and everything. We call these drop mounts. This is something that kind of keeps your rear end position in a lower thing, so in a lower angle for your pinion. And it puts a lot less stress on my ears. My ears are pretty much this part of my rear end. People don't normally reinforce their ears, and that typically breaks a lot, especially when you start three-wheeling. Which three-wheeling is, we get one of our wheels from the front off the ground by dropping a corner. Depending which corner, people like to drop the left one a lot, people like to drop the right one a lot. No matter which one though, you could overlock. And what I mean by overlock is we have cylinders that bring the car up and down. This is a cylinder actually. This is what we use to bring the car. We bring the car up and down, drop a corner. There's a lot of different ways of doing setups. There's also a lot of different springs we use depending on how you like your car. Some people like their car really bouncy and really aggressive and quick, like a quick reaction to it. That's when you jump into like your more thicker, tougher springs. which is like your 3 tons, your 3.5, your 4, your 5s. That's more in the hopper stuff. There's also springs like this. We like to use like 1 tons. This is really soft, so this is something you can do with hydraulics, but also that's something if you want more of a cruiser, super lay and play, super soft ride, things like that. This one you'll feel it in your back after a while with the thicker springs. Yeah, so what I mean by drop mount is drop mount something we do for our trailing arms, because our stock location for our trailing arms are right here against this wall we have from frame to frame. This is normally where you would put your drop mount. I mean your trailing arm, I'm sorry. But what we're doing here is I haven't started it yet, but I have to cut this open, and this usually goes here. And then we would put this trailing arm here, dropping it 6 inches, which puts a lot less stress on our ears. For something I want to do, which is called high lockup. A high lockup's pretty much getting the rear of our car really high, higher than normal. Usually what people use is like an 8-inch cylinder, a 10-inch cylinder, 12s, 14s. Those are more of the normal ones. What I'm using is a 22, which is a collapse. I have a collapse cylinder, which is a 22-inch cylinder at the size of a 12 one. So it's pretty much 2 cylinders in one. And when you hit your switch and it sends fluid to the cylinder, it's gonna pretty much look like 2 different cylinders sitting on top of each other. Also, this channel right here we put across from it, this is what we call a bridge. If you look at like a normal older car, we usually have things called spring pockets, which is stock, but a bridge is something we do to pretty much a reinforcement, but it's also stronger for the springs, especially when you're using tougher springs. It'll usually beat up on the spring pockets pretty good. So this is kind of a mandatory for any car, even a lay and play. Eventually that spring pocket's gonna give out, and that's something we kind of have to do just to keep our guard going and be able to take all that pressure from going up and down. So this is where I'm working on my frame at right now. This stays inside the garage because I'm welding and doing all sorts of things with the frame. But before this, the body and the frame were together. So what we did, we totally separated it, and we carried the frame we carried the body out of the garage, and we totally carried it in the backyard with just me and my friends. Well, my club. These are like my club brothers. Pretty much my real brothers. Come help me unfold it. Come help me unfold it. So this is where we put the body at. This is totally the shell. It has no doors right now or anything. Shell of the car. We totally ripped it apart. We took the fenders off, the front wheel off, the doors apart. We completely restored everything. We did, especially how it's a Midwest car, we tend to rust really fast. So it was a lot of work just going into fixing that rust, fixing the holes, the rot from it, and just dents from little things just from natural. This is the inside. What I'm planning on doing on the inside is completely just redoing it too. Like new carpets and everything. Right now I'm in transition. So usually this is all the wiring from the hydraulics. I'm gonna take it apart. I'm taking it right back out, redoing everything. This is where I usually keep my batteries and my pumps. The way I'm trying to have it set up is I'm gonna have 4 pumps across and squeeze in the 14 all the way from wall to wall. I'm just gonna squeeze in all 14 batteries. Since I'm doing a full frame build, we're doing all new different paint. I'm gonna do the flake with the candy and a lot of clear coat to make it really super clear. Yeah. Also, another thing is, I don't know if you can really see it, but it's on the bottom. What I like to do, what I'm planning on doing is we're cleaning the bottom of the car. I'm gonna completely paint it the same color as the car. So since we're dumping it high and trying to get inches on it, you're gonna be able to see everything on the bottom. So we're gonna have the bottom the exact same color as the car, flaked out. Maybe try to get some murals in there. Usually how they do that is on a rotisserie, but I don't have I don't have a garage, like a full-on shop. So we're just making the best out of what we have here. When we did this, it was about maybe like 11 of us, nothing but just friends and like family, and completely just ripped it apart from the frame, carried it, rolled it, we dragged it. I don't even remember how we did it that much, but that's how we did it. We just carried it with a bunch of us and a few beers, and it's here now, you know. And we'll worry about putting it back on when the time gets there. But yeah, completely ripped apart. Another thing I'm doing is, this used to have a bunch of holes. It's in the middle of the process, so it's not done yet. We call this like a shaved wall. Usually we do this for the whole thing. It gives it a flat look. People like to put murals on it, pinstripe it. So usually you have like your motor right here, and you have a really nice mural right here when you pop your trunk. I mean, you pop your hood at shows, or sometimes people don't run wheel wells, and you'll see it just in the through wheel. I wanted all this to get painted too, the same color. I want all this to be same color, and so we just went the full mile with it, and in the process of that right now. That's about it for the body. He actually did that window. Yeah. We completely ordered new windows, and we're even redoing the windows on them. And we're not sure what we're trying to come up with yet, but it's definitely going to be traditional 70s low riding type look going on for this car. And yeah, it's definitely traditional. We're going with this car, except with the whole frame. You know, we're trying to keep it the 70s look, but the 90s style with it being so aggressive and everything. So that's kind of our goal for this car. So now that I'm finished up welding on my frame, I went about starting to paint it and throw on suspension. With my suspension, for the size control arms that I went with a 2.5-inch tuck, so I could bow out a little bit. And then also with my springs, since I want to hop, I threw a 5-ton spring on there. For these, I had to cut these about maybe like a turn and a half just so it could fit. But I stuffed as much spring as in there as I could. Lowers, we just stuck with like regular reinforced lowers. We did 1/2-inch port cylinders so I could shoot the fluid in there fast. So for my setup on this car, I want to run 14 batteries, which is a lot for a lowrider. I'm also putting double pistons, which I could put air in it to build up pressure. The reason I'm doing 1/2-inch port is it could take, since I'm on a piston pump, it could take the fluid so much faster and at a larger amount than you would with a regular cylinder, which is a 3/8. Since I got the bigger port, it's just gonna snap way harder. And I put 5-ton springs on it just because of how much power I got and the weight I'm gonna have on this car. This car was always a heavy car in general, but with the wrapped frame and the weight in it, it's gonna treat them like regular springs, even though they're 5-ton springs. Yeah, I did heavy because I am planning to go up really high, so I need those springs to take the impact as best as they could, and that's the best way to do it is with the 5 tons. So that pretty much wraps up for the front. For the back, what I'm doing is I did a 5-inch drop mount, so I can add trailing arms, but I also want to lock up high in the back, so I'm putting 22s in the back. So in order to do that, you kind of have to have drop mount so you don't break the ear on your rear end. I think that's pretty much it. The back I am doing 2.5-ton coils, which is pretty normal. You could go softer for a softer ride, but I want a snappy ride, so I went about using 2.5 tons. Yeah, that's pretty much it for that one. Alright, so with my doors, I am doing a color change on the car, so what I did like a salmon copper, but we did do five coats of flake. With the flake, we shot it about like 35 pounds with the flake. We did 4 coats like that, and on the 5th coat we did like a full blast. I think we did like 60 pounds of pressure just to even everything out. But yeah, these doors just took a lot of work with the rust and everything, just the Midwest rust. So it took a lot to bring them back. But we did do a color change on them, and they're ready to go. Okay. All right. So with the body, what I'm doing is, naturally this car had a lot of tar underneath the car, So we're just starting to go about scraping it because we do want to color match the body, like the belly of the car, with the color of the body. We also want to color match the trunk and our engine bay, but we'll get to that part when it comes. But right now, as of right now, we're just kind of sanding down everything on the bottom, getting it as clean as possible so we can shoot and spray it to the same color. So the plans next for this car is I want to get this car in the rolling chassis. So we're gonna work on the back end piece, trying to get the rear end together, finish welding up the rear end and paint it. Also get our trending arms in just so we can throw wheels on it and roll it around. We do want to get the body on it by mid-September, hopefully to make it back out by like opening season, which is maybe the April time of next year. But we do want to be out for the full season next year. And that, yeah.